All right, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to another Monday check-in. This is Art with Errol. Let's go, everybody. Let's go. So, today I want to talk about something I've been thinking about a lot lately, which has been progress. Because, when you're trying to grow a YouTube channel, building a brand, creating art, streams, doing, all this consistently, it's really easy to look at numbers and think, am I actually getting anywhere? you know? And sometimes the answer isn't as obvious as you think. It's just not. Because last week, some of our numbers went down. But at the same time, I actually think we made some pretty important progress. So today I want to talk about what happened last week, what worked, what didn't, where are we in the painting, and what we're doing this week, as always, So let's get into it. So for our gaming channel, ArtwithErrol Gaming. And I always forget to say, hey, I'm Errol. I'm your host. I'm a graphics designer. I was in the Navy for 20 years and retired. I do work, but I work at a gym. I was a social media manager for a while. So, I've had different hats and stuff. And yeah, but now I got a little job, getting my retirement, and we're doing some YouTube. So let's talk about our gaming channel that we've been trying to build up and build a community around. Last week, finished with about 4,133 views, around 37.3 hours of watch time, and gained about 9 subscribers. We also had just over 31,000 impressions, and with a click-through rate of about 2.9%. Now, if you compare that to the previous week, some of those numbers aren't necessarily great. The views were down, the watch time was down, and the impressions were down quite a bit. So I could sit here and look at those numbers and say, well, that's not good. But I don't think that that's the whole story, because we also gained 9 subscribers, which is about 50% increase compared to the previous week. And more importantly, we are starting to see some patterns in the content that's working. So I've been doing a lot of trial and error, and with a lot of my videos, I've been trying different things. I've been switching up things, trying different things, and I think that's a part of the picture as well. So what did we learn? For example, the Xbox Gears of War video that I did pulled in over 1,000 views and had, about 43% average percentage viewed, which is, I think that's pretty decent there. The Marvel Tokon PC patch video that we did, those were shorts actually. They're not like full videos. They almost did 1,000 views and had about 47% viewed. And then we had a Hell Let Loose video. Excuse me, y'all. That one was really interesting. It had about 461 views, but the average percentage viewed was about 60%. And, we gained a subscriber from that video. So then there was the Tokon discussion, which had an average about, 70%. It was viewed about 70%, almost 70%. And that tells me something, really, that we're starting to learn, our audience, what they want from us. So it's not nearly just here's the gaming news. it's becoming more about here's what happened and here's what I think about it. So that's kind of the direction I'm going with the videos, in case people haven't noticed, for our gaming channel. And here's what happened and here's my actual experience with it. So those are the two things that we're kind of starting to lean into, and I think that's going to could become the niche for the channel. And I think that's, you know, an important distinction. That's really an important distinction, because anybody can read the news, right? Anybody can read the news. So I could just read the news to you. Anybody could read it for themselves too. So trying to make my content my own and different, you know, I need experience and opinion and perspective in my content. And that's kind of a piece that I might have been lacking. I had a little bit of it, not enough. So I've been trying to shift it and make it more unique and more my own. And I think that's something we need to continue to learn and try to progress for my gaming channel. So some of the biggest problems now, I'm still something we need to work on for this channel is, you know, the reach. You know, 31,000 impressions tells me that YouTube is still testing my content, but it's in front of people. So that's a good thing. The click-through rate is another thing where I'm kind of struggling. 2.9%. That's, you know, not the greatest. So I got to do better in getting people to stop and say, you know, wait, what's this video about? You know, I need people to pay more attention to the video. So that's going to be, you know, I need better titles. I need better thumbnails. I need stronger openings. So there's a lot that I need to be working on. And it's fine because my new gaming channel is only really 2 years old. And I think from the beginning, we've made a ton of progress. I've made a lot of progress. And I'm learning things, and hopefully this is helpful to somebody else that's trying to make their own channel. You know, discovering yourself and figuring out what your channel's going to actually be is always a challenge, because that niche can come from something else that you would totally not expect, that makes it your own. And the most importantly, you know, making sure that the idea itself is interesting enough, you know, that someone actually wants to click on your video. So I'm not going to look at the last week's numbers and say, hey, we failed, y'all, because I don't think we failed. I never think you failed. I think you have opportunity to learn. And I'm looking at them and saying, it's okay. Here's what we learned. And that's really the whole journey. And that's what it's been about. You know, we got a long road ahead, but I'm not giving up. And I think we're going to learn from everything we do and keep pushing forward. On the art side of things, I've been doing not the best on getting extra content for that channel. And it's just been the art streams and this podcast. So, and if you're unaware, it's 2 different channels on YouTube. We're running an Art with Errol, which is more now primary artwork. It was art and gaming, but we split that. So we're artwork on Art with Errol, and then we're Art with Errol Gaming, so our gaming content. We gave ourselves 2 different houses on YouTube. On Twitch, we're just streaming everything. When we stream, whatever we stream, it's just going on Twitch. And Kick, same thing. It's just going to be the streams. And then over on Spotify, it's just the podcast. So we have a bunch of different lanes to get like folks involved and hopefully join the community we're trying to build. And hopefully we're grabbing people's attention and pulling people in from these other platforms. But my primary focus has been to try to grow YouTube, right? So let's talk about the art side. So there's also been, continuing progress on the art side. It's very low. It's very low. And right now I've been working on this Annunciation, Gabriel and Mary. This painting is, it's a biblical painting. It's Gabriel bringing the message from God to tell Mary she's going to have Jesus, right? So this painting, it's coming along. We're having a lot of progress. We're getting close. We're starting to work on Gabriel, and I'm going to have to do a lot of tweaks. So hopefully I can get a really good art session in tomorrow. At least that's the plan. So if you're tuning in on the Art with Errol channel, we're going to be painting tomorrow, and hopefully we can get really far along with getting to the end of that painting, and then figuring out what we want to do after that. Because I'm thinking with Doomsday, with the Avengers Doomsday coming up, I want to paint Doom or do something Doom. So I want to kind of get back to doing some of those. We did do a few religious paintings. We painted my father, who passed away this year. So I want to really push hard to finishing up the Annunciation this week or next week. And, I feel like the composition, the perspective, the environment, the lighting, we have a great concept going. I just got to tie it all together. I got to bring it all together with, finishing off the painting. So I've been taking my time. I really have, because the final parts of this painting is going to take a little more effort for me to kind of like bring it all together. But it is coming along. So if you want to tune in, we have a lot going on with that. I'm not getting tons of views on that, but it's okay. I think when we're finished, we will run the short like we always do, because the short is sped up and more views usually come from that. So hopefully that will help the growth of that channel. And I wanted to try to work on crossover. So I need to make sure that every time I do the when I'm painting, that I'm posting on the gaming channel. So hopefully some folks will cross over. At least in the post or the comments of ArtwithErrol Gaming. So I need to do crossover. I need to be trying to do crossover from both channels to try and say, hey, we're gaming on this channel. Hey, we're doing artwork on this channel. So that's something that I really want to focus on and work on hard going for the rest of this year, trying to do that crossover. So I'm still building something on that channel. It's just a lot of slow progress, because I would like to do on-the-go sketches, but I haven't quite figured out how I can do on-the-go sketches, record it. That's the challenging part, is recording it, having a sketchbook, recording one of the little sketches or something like that. I want to do that. That would pump up the channel, because that gives you more content that you can post in little shorts or something like that. But I just haven't figured out how I can do that, because if you're on the go and you're in a place, you don't want to have a phone set up recording and it's capturing somebody that don't want to be on a recording or something. I don't want to do that with an IRL kind of debacle where people are upset with you for doing some kind of recording when you're just trying to record your artwork or something. Excuse me, I needed something to drink there. So I'm still working on all this stuff, and my goal is to get through the Annunciation either this week or next week. So we've been working two different types of content, and my whole premise has been art and gaming, right? Art and gaming, or gaming and art. You can do it either way, right? which actually is teaching me two completely different lessons. You know, gaming content can move very quickly. You don't really need a lot for gaming. You know, when it comes to artwork, you have to really take your time. And some people are impatient nowadays. You know, they need more faster paced stuff, where gaming can be faster paced. Artwork can typically be slow. I mean, you can do some quick little speed drawings or stuff, but it's really a process to doing artwork that's a lot slower than a lot of gaming content. And you can see something happening in the gaming industry. There's always something that you can talk about or report on, or if you want to have that conversational piece with gaming, it's a lot easier, and it's interesting, I think, to a lot more people, because it's something that anybody can really dive into easily. I mean, artwork can be dove into easily too if you're willing to take the time, right? There's a lot of time that you have to put into doing artwork. Like, you have to sit there, come up with ideas, and sketch it. Sometimes you have to sketch it several times. Sometimes you have to really, you could go through that whole process and complete a piece of artwork and not be happy with it. And, you know, that happens, and it's okay. But you learn stuff, and the next time you attempt to do that type of painting or that type of artwork, you get better at it. But the process behind it is really, really slow. It could take weeks, it could take days, it could take whatever, right? Artwork is one of those things where you need a lot more time invested, and some people are unwilling to put you on in the background and watch you paint or draw or whatever. Some people are, and that's the more folks that love artwork and will sit and watch it. So both are important to me because I love artwork. That's why my channel and everything is Art with Errol, because I love artwork, I love gaming. So it's a combination of both, right? The gaming side lets me talk about things that I'm passionate about with gaming, and the art side, you know, is just where I could just be creative and just let my artistic stuff flow out. So I don't want to sacrifice one just because the other might grow faster, and that's not what I'm ever going to do. I'm going to have both sides, and so I'm always going to have that split. I think if the gaming channel takes off and we get to a point where we can earn a little income on it, then maybe I don't need this other job. I can, you know, devote more time to both channels. But that's something that could happen in the future, and we just need to keep focusing on where we at and getting to an end goal of actually earning money and becoming a full-time creator. And that's everybody's dream. Like we said this before, that's everybody's dream, is to build their own channel, have a little income, work from home, be able to do what you love, that you're passionate about. That's the dream for a lot of folks. Getting there is what we're talking about here. How do you get there? How do you get there, right? So let's talk about this week. We're going to continue to push the gaming shorts. That's something that I think is really crucial to building your channel. And I want to say this to folks that aren't doing shorts. If you're doing shorts, then hey, you're good. You need that. That's a tool. Shorts is where you can really reach people and hopefully build your audience. So if you start to perfect your shorts, you can definitely grow your audience. And hopefully eventually you can get them to longer form videos. And that's what I've been trying to work on, is building the community. And now we're diving into making a few longer form videos And I'm not going too long. I'm trying to keep them 3 to 4 minutes as we build, and then as we get better, we'll go to like maybe 5-minute videos or whatever, longer videos. But for right now, since I'm still trying to build the channel, I'm trying to keep the content in a range that people may be willing to give you a chance on. So we're going to continue working on our painting. So like I said, tomorrow I want to get a really good painting session in where we can just sit there and paint and hopefully finish Gabriel and then start to tie in the whole picture. I want to tie in that whole picture and go in and do tweaks and make it really look nice. That's my goal for the Annunciation. And we've got 2 good days that I should be able to do that. That's tomorrow and Wednesday. I should be able to paint, I think. It's Thursday that's the issue. I have an appointment, so I won't be able to game stream on Thursday. So there won't be any game stream this Thursday. But I should be able to game stream on Friday, I believe. Friday should still be on where we can play some Hell Let Loose. Because I really haven't been able to dive into the game and get a full understanding of Hell Let Loose like that. But hopefully we can have a good gaming session on Friday with Hell Let Loose. I think this week will be fine. You know, I always want to get a full week of 2 days artwork, 2 days game streaming. It's not always the case. Appointments pop up, life things pop up, and sometimes I have to cut more than 1 day. It's just you never know what could happen. So it's okay, and I think this week will be totally fine. So our focus has really been trying to build, and the channel is coming along. And I want to thank, I really want to thank folks for joining the ArtwithErrol Gaming channel, because we've had a lot over the last 7 days. Now, what we say was 9 folks that joined the channel, and that's great. It feels good when you make something that's worthy of somebody's time, and they take an interest in you, and they're willing to hit that subscribe button, because a lot of people don't really give you a chance. So life happens, we know that. Work happens, family happens, things come up. So I'm not really concerned about missing a day of game streaming this week. Consistency doesn't mean you have to never miss a day. So I want folks to also think about that. You know, if you're making content too, and you work like a full-time job like me, and you have family and stuff, and you're still wanting to make content, it's okay if you have to miss a day. Don't stress over it. Just let your viewers know. I think that's the most important thing, because a lot of times viewers are they're looking at your content as, hey, this person posts every day at this time, so they come back, and if they don't see the content, then they kind of wonder what happened, and they just like, oh, well, maybe he stopped making content, because there's no notification. So try to give them notification. I try to do that through the podcast, and I also try to do the post on days that I can't game stream or do the artwork or whatever. I try to do the post. And I think that's the most important thing, is to try to always keep your community informed as best you can. And I know we all forget. I forget. Stuff happens. You don't always get it. But I think that's a key thing to remember, is to try to inform everybody. So Thursday is going to be a break from the game stream, but we'll be back hopefully next week, back on a normal schedule. So the bigger picture. Let's talk about our bigger picture here. So, and that's really where I'm at right now, really, in the bigger picture. That's really where I'm at. I'm looking at numbers. We're looking at videos. We're looking at painting. We're looking at scheduling. And I'm realizing that we've actually built something. We've built something. We've been staying consistent. We built something over these last 2 years. Maybe I'm not growing as fast as I may want it to, and that's totally fine. Maybe every video isn't going to take off like a rocket, I don't have any like real viral type videos, so maybe it's not growing as wait, I already said that. So maybe, the video isn't going to take off. I'm repeating myself around. So I got notes and I'm kind of like bouncing around. But we're learning. That's what I'm trying to get to. We're learning, we're experimenting, we're creating, and we're getting better. I make a ton of mistakes. I'm not a perfect person or whatever. I'm not perfect at creating. I make a ton of mistakes. I need notes. I need scripts sometimes. I write scripts for myself. They're not always the best. Some do well, some fail. But honestly, that's a problem. That's not really something that's going to hinder me from trying or getting better, I think. Because I'm figuring things out. I really am. And stuff is starting to work. Whether I want to look at the numbers and say, hey, last week was a wash, I think things are working out and I'm figuring it out as I go. And the audience is responding. So that's another thing. Because even though numbers are fluctuating, people are responding to the content. So we're getting somewhere. And I can always improve the thumbnails, the hooks, the retention, and the storytelling. That can always be improved. I just got to keep working at it. I think the foundation is what's important. We're building a good foundation and something much bigger. So that's where we're headed into another week. So I hope you guys are going to tune in to the artwork. We're going to be painting tomorrow. I'm going to continue building. We're going to continue learning. We're going to continue painting. We're going to continue gaming. And I'm going to continue to figure out the whole thing. And we're going to look at it every Monday. So if you want to tune into this, where I kind of ramble a lot, I try to stay on topic. That's why I have like some bullet points and notes and stuff, things to talk about. But a lot of times I'll go off topic. I try my best to stay on topic. But I want you to remember something too. Progress doesn't always look like big numbers or bigger numbers. Sometimes progress is just understanding what didn't work. Because we had things that didn't work last week. And sometimes, it's finishing another section of a project. And sometimes it's simply showing up when you didn't even feel like it. Now, that's a key thing. I did like a topic on that. Sometimes, you don't want to do content. And there's been several times where I was like, man, I don't really want to make a video today. And it kind of shows in the content itself. Because you can tell when someone is feeling a little off or something like that in their mood and all that. Especially for the folks that are willing to put themselves on the screen. Because I do see a lot of content creators who they never show themselves. And that's cool if that's how you want to make your content. I think people build better rapport with someone if they can see you. But that's just my opinion. You can do things how you want in life. It's not there's no right or wrong answer, because a lot of those folks can be and are successful. So, but that's just how I feel on that topic. So sometimes, I think progress really is what is when that you're actually a lot further along than you thought you were, and that's a thing too. You can be a lot further along than you thought you were. When I started ArtwithErrol Gaming, we had like 0, and now it's been 2 years now with this channel, and we're almost to 500, and that's a big thing. It like I said, it's not speeding along, but we are getting somewhere. And I think the biggest thing is that with the YouTube changing the hours and all that, I want to continue making progress. So hopefully I could get in there before they go up to the 8,000 watch hours, because that sounds ridiculous. But I think if you make good content, you'll get there. And you just got to learn along the way. I'm kind of choking up a bit. Let me take a sip here. Oh man. But yeah, in case you didn't know, what is the beginning of next year? I think it's in February or something. It's either January or February. The watch hours to get, like, I guess, the ad revenue. So partnership starts at 500 and 3,000 watch hours. As of right now, to get to the ad revenue, you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours in a year. Well, they're doubling that. That's going up in February, I believe, of next year to 8,000 watch hours. So it's very interesting. You feel like you're making progress, and then you're taking like 2 steps backwards or something. But we got to make partner. And in order for us to make partner with our ArtwithErrol Gaming channel, we got to hit the 500 subscribers and the 3,000 watch hours. So I'm really trying my best to build the longer form content now. And like I said, it's a process. We're learning. And as of the rest of this year, I'm going to try to keep it around 3 to 4 minutes. I don't want to go too long, too crazy, until I'm more comfortable and I'm making the content that people really want to see. Because keeping people to stick through the video is something that I want to be able to do. I want to be able to hold people's attention and make sure that I have a good script, that I have something interesting or an interesting take for them. It's based around my own opinion, as well as actual news or content as well. So we're working on it, and I think we're just getting started. I do like making content. I really enjoy it. I enjoy painting and drawing, and if we do watercolor, watercolor's fun too. I've done a few watercolor things before, but watercolor, I'm mostly painting acrylic, but I don't really like to do oil because oil is harder to clean, and I have such a small space to work in. If I get oil all over my hands and all over stuff, it's like hard to clean all that up. So acrylic is one of the easiest things to clean up. So it's just soap and water. It just comes right off. So mostly I'll do a lot of acrylic, but pastels, I like pastels. Pretty much any, marker work, I love drawing, painting, and gaming. So I'm going to continue making the content that I enjoy, and I'm going to try to give you the best that I can do. And hopefully everybody will appreciate what I come up with, going from here on out, because I want to grow our community, and our community is the Artistry Society, which is going to include art and gaming. So I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. I actually made it 35 minutes. This podcast always ends up being 30 to 40 minutes, or sometimes 20 to 40 minutes, just depending on how I'm feeling on that Monday, because this is the second piece of content I make. So we did our video / short this morning. Now we're on our podcast, and then tomorrow we'll have some kind of short along with the painting that we're working on. So I really enjoy doing this stuff, and it does consume time, and I have a very short window of time to do all the stuff that I'm doing. So we're making things happen. So I appreciate everyone, and I can't thank folks enough for joining the Art with Errol Gaming channel, because we're almost to 500, which gives me an opportunity to become partner. I just got to get that watch time up, really. I get that watch time up on the Art with Errol Gaming channel. We can make partner for YouTube partner, and then that gives us that opens up subscriptions, that opens up a couple things. It opens up, and that's really exciting. And I think if we keep going and making the content that we've been making, we should be over 500 by the end of the year, or before the end of the year. And that was our main goal for this year, was to get the 500 subscribers, and hopefully get to the 3,000 watch hours to make partner, YouTube partner, right? So we're almost there. We're almost there. And I appreciate everyone. Thank you for listening to the podcast. If you're listening to it on Spotify or Amazon Music or Apple Podcasts, you can jump over onto YouTube, follow the Art with Errol Gaming channel or Art with Errol YouTube channel if you're just into artwork. And if you're watching on Twitch, don't forget to hit the follow. If you're watching on Kick, what is it? Follow? I think it's follow. I can't ever remember what every one of these has. Whatever button you got, press the buttons. Support your boy. Join the Artistry Society. And I'll see you next Monday for our Monday check-in. And we'll talk about where we're at, where we're going, what we're trying to do. So, till next time, you know what to do. I'm out of here.